Imagine you're sitting with coworkers during lunch, or maybe you're at a family gathering, surrounded by relatives. Everything is normal until someone suddenly makes a joke about you in front of everyone. Maybe they bring up an embarrassing mistake from years ago. Maybe they mock your appearance, your career, your relationship, or something deeply personal. The room laughs, conversations stop, and for a few seconds it feels like every eye is locked on you. Your chest tightens, your face feels hot, your mind searches desperately for something clever to say, but nothing comes out. Later that night, while lying in bed, the moment keeps replaying in your head. You think of the perfect response, the perfect comeback, the perfect way you should have handled it. But here's the truth. What hurts the most isn't what they said. It's the feeling that you lost control of the moment. And that's exactly why public humiliation stays with people for years. Most people think the solution is learning better comebacks. It isn't. The real solution is understanding what's actually happening when someone tries to embarrass you in front of others. Because surprisingly, most public humiliation isn't really about you. Think about the people who constantly make fun of others, interrupt conversations, or take cheap shots at people in groups. If you pay attention, you'll notice something interesting. They don't just do it to you, they do it to everyone. Why? Because humiliating others gives them something they desperately need: attention, validation, or a temporary feeling of power. For a few seconds, they become the center of the room. And that's why the biggest mistake you can make is reacting emotionally. The moment you become angry, defensive, or visibly hurt, you've handed them exactly what they wanted. The room stops focusing on their behavior and starts focusing on your reaction. That's why the strongest response is often the one nobody expects. Calmness, not weakness, not silence, control. The next time someone tries to embarrass you publicly, don't rush to defend yourself. Pause, take a breath, look at them calmly, let a few seconds pass. Sounds simple, but those few seconds completely change the dynamic. Most people expect immediate reactions. They expect you to become angry, embarrassed, or defensive. When none of that happens, the energy suddenly shifts. Now they're the uncomfortable one. Now they're the person standing in front of a room waiting for a reaction that never arrived. And people notice that. They always do. After the pause, don't become trapped in a one-on-one battle. Most people make the mistake of focusing entirely on the person who insulted them. Instead, become aware of the room. Look around. Observe. Because public humiliation only works when everyone silently accepts it. The moment people begin questioning what just happened, the spotlight starts moving away from you and toward the person who created the awkwardness. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is calmly acknowledge what's happening. You don't need a speech. You don't need an argument. Just a simple statement. That sounded personal. Or interesting thing to say in front of everyone. Short, calm, direct. The goal isn't to attack them. The goal is to make the behavior visible. Because people often get away with disrespect only when nobody points it out. And sometimes the smartest move is not engaging at all. Not every comment deserves your attention. Not every person deserves access to your energy. There are situations where the strongest response is simply continuing the conversation and acting as though their attempt to provoke you wasn't important enough to interrupt your day. Nothing frustrates attention seekers more than realizing they failed to get attention. And yes, there are moments when a response is necessary. But if you're going to speak, keep it short, keep it calm, keep it confident. Not, how dare you say that? But, I'm comfortable with who I am. Not, you're wrong. But, you're entitled to that opinion. Notice the difference. One response is fighting for approval. The other doesn't need approval. And people can feel that difference immediately. But here's the part most people never talk about. If the same person keeps humiliating you again and again, the real issue isn't a single comment. It's the pattern. People repeat behaviors that face no consequences. That's why confidence isn't just about handling the moment. It's about what happens afterward. Sometimes a private conversation is necessary. Not emotional, not aggressive, just clear. A simple, what happened earlier isn't something I'm willing to accept again. That's it. No threats, no drama, just boundaries. Because confident people don't spend their lives proving their strength. They simply make their standards clear. And over time, something interesting begins to happen. People stop testing you, not because they're afraid of you, but because they realize you're no longer an easy target. You stop reacting from panic. You stop shrinking. You stop replaying every interaction for days afterward. And the respect you were searching for from others starts coming naturally. Because real dignity doesn't come from winning arguments. It comes from staying grounded when someone tries to take it away. The person who embarrassed you was expecting the old version of you. The version that panicked. The version that froze. The version that doubted itself. The next time it happens, give them something they never expected. Calm face, steady voice, and someone who refuses to let another person's behavior decide their worth.